Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to Builders of Bharat, a podcast hosted by Red Crow, where we get leaders of today to inspire the future leaders of tomorrow. Today we have with us someone who probably doesn't need an introduction. She started as a developer and over the years is now the head of engineering for one of the NASDAQ listed giants, an inspiration for many and a mentor for the rest. Please welcome Preeti Arora today, where we talk about her life and her journey in STEM. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the podcast. How are you
Thank
doing?
you. Thank you so much, Anmol. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
All good, ma'am. So, ma'am, the entire purpose, as you know, of the podcast is to talk about more of your life, about from a perspective where we don't get into the depth of the tech, but we get into the depth of how you were as a child and how you emerged as a head of engineering, if I might say, uh, over the years, right? So I'll start with a basic question. Could you share something about your childhood? How did growing up in a middle class family influence your values and your ambitions?
Sure, Anmol. Yeah, first of all, thank you to you and Team Recro for arranging this, right? And yeah, if my journey can inspire, others, that will certainly, be my, utmost pleasure. Coming back to your original question, how was my childhood and how did my ambitions get shaped up being in a middle class family.
Yeah,
So yes, I was born in a middle class family in Delhi, both parents working, and they were both well educated as well.
yeah,
So one of the foundation that I got from my parents right from my early childhood years was that I have to be good in academics.
yeah,
I have to grow up, to get into good college education, have a good career, and this was like a constant nurturing that kept on coming from both my parents.
yeah,
We are two sisters. I'm the elder one, and given that my parents themselves were very well educated and they had so much focus on us being focusing on our academics, so the atmosphere and the environment at our home was quite academics oriented, so to say. Right. uh, there was importance of discipline drill down as well. And I think one thing especially which I owe to my mom, she was very particular that being girls, it's very important that you are good, and not just good, you're very good at what you do, right? And you make a niche for yourself. So that is something I owe to my mom. And coming to the middle class part of growing up, so a very interesting memory that comes to my mind is anytime we were introduced to any of the colleagues of our parents, of my mom or my dad, right? Or my dad, right? So the typical middle class mentality of that time, and with due respect, I don't want to hurt anyone's sentiments or feelings, but a very casual kind of a question, which apparently the askers were very casual about it, or very naive about it, but was like, अच्छा आपकी दो बेटियां हैं बेटा.
yeah,
and 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 this is where my parents used to give a very humble yet firm response. जी ये दोनों ही हमारे बेटे भी हैं,
mm,
हम इन्हें बेटे की तरह ही पाल रहे हैं. Now this response was something which in that kind of a patriarchal kind of mental conditioning that the yesteryear's generation has had.
yeah,
This was a very bold response, coming in those years, right? And this is easily like 30 years before from now, right? Is this is dated back, right? Easily 30, 32 years back.
yeah,
Very bold response, and it used to fill me with a lot of pride, responsibility, confidence, and positivity that I and my sister are so much valued by our parents. And and basically, if I look back in my journey, right, most probably it was this kind of of a um, question and response kind of a thing, which occurred multiple times, kind of fueled the drive and ambition in me to do really, really very well, set a great example, make my entire family, if not very proud, at least, proud, right? That, yeah, they invested their best, and I have done, best to be able to do justice to their efforts. These, and eventually, these kind of questions start getting eliminated
Yeah.
from the mindsets, of the future generation. I think that is where the seeds were sown,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
100%. I believe they're very, very proud of you. Not just very proud, they're very, very proud of you. But obviously, so a few days back, I'll just give you a very small example. We were discussing ads in a marketing team, and my boss just came across an ad where it was an urban company film that they've recently done. So it was about how you treat others. And that's where we were discussing that how important it is, not just for the women in the house, but for the people around her, to inspire her, right? To support her, because alone she, like, it's still a huge battle to be fought, right? So yeah, I kudos to your parents first thing, and they are very, very proud of you, I believe. Now the next question is, we've had a conversation before, so we spoke about your engineering, right? So what inspired you to pursue engineering despite you not getting into a like preferred stream of yours? And who were your role models basically, and how did they influence you to take up your career instead?
Yeah. So it's here's the thing, right? To In all honesty and Mole,
Yeah.
to become an engineer
Yeah.
was my mom's utmost desire and dream for me. Let me
Okay.
put it straight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so to say maybe why, and I
Mm.
would say maybe because of course she knows her journey the best. But from little what I could make out was that when she was growing up as a girl in her family,
Yeah.
she wanted to study science as a stream,
Okay.
but sadly enough, she didn't get the right support.
Yeah.
At that point of time, in her growing years,
Mm.
science was, essentially, considered as a men's kind of a field, right? And 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 of course, she eventually, became an economics majors. She did her master's in economics. She had a, great career in teaching and all of that. But somewhere deep down, right, she had that kind of a burning desire. Oh, I couldn't study science stream. I wasn't encouraged. Back then, the setup of the society was not encouraging. And now I have, two girls, and I definitely want to, enable each of them to, study science, study, and
Yeah.
now why engineering specifically?
Yeah.
So around her, she had two strong men who were engineers. My maternal uncle, who was, her brother,
Yeah.
he was an engineer, and my dad was an engineer. Two strong men, engineers, getting all the accolades and admiration of everyone in the family.
Yeah.
And the aspiring young girl in her probably kind of had that burning desire right from her younger years only, that okay, whenever I will get an opportunity, I will launch female engineers in the bigger extended family. Probably
Yeah.
that was the dream, right? So I had a very strong emotional bond with my mom, and I really wanted to fuel that dream and desire.
Yeah.
So yes, that dream and desire was nurtured by her over the years. But here was the catch.
Yeah.
As I grew up and like started understanding in my 12th grade or somewhere, that okay, what, engineering has some of these streams. There's a mechanical, there's a civil, there's an electrical engineering.
Yeah.
Every of those disciplines were sounding very boring to me.
Mm.
I was not able to relate to any one of those streams passionately except for one. And the one that I was able to relate passionately was computer science engineering.
Got
In my, growing up years, it was still a relatively new stream of engineering that was introduced just, maybe a few years back in various engineering colleges. In our family, we didn't have computer science engineers. We had mechanical engineers, and we had, other streams of engineers. But again, this was a brand new stream. And why I kind of, was passionately attached to it was when I was in my school, during seventh grade, computer science was introduced as a subject.
God.
Brand new subject. Not many schools at that point of time in Delhi had computer science as a subject, but I think my school was a progressive one. They introduced it. I instantly fell in love with programming. We started at the school with basic, Fortran, Pascal, C. Up till, grade 12th, I had already, mastered programming in C. And
God.
that was something I was so much, getting fond of, that okay, this is easy, this is all logic, and I can just do it. I don't have to rectify things, which
God.
was another trait of Indian education system, right?
Yes.
I don't have to rectify things, and this is easy. So the only engineering that I can personally fall in love with is computer science engineering. So I wanted to do that. And my mom and my dad were like, okay, do whichever engineering, become an engineer. And I was like, but I will do only this.
Hmm.
Comes the results of engineering college counseling, and I didn't score a rank at any of the IIT. Let me be honest about it. Regional engineering colleges, I was my scorecard was making me eligible only to get a civil or an electrical engineering, right? At REC Kurukshetra, it was civil. At another REC, it was electrical, and that's it.
Hmm.
And my heart was not allowing me to take that choice.
Yeah.
So there were two options essentially, right? And these counselings go on for a few months, right? So there were two options that okay, I'll have to either give it as a gap year to be able to prepare well and get
Yeah.
into my chosen branch, computer science engineering, next year in one of the very reputed colleges, or or don't go after a college's reputation of being an REC,
Hmm.
but go after the discipline that I really, the stream that I really care about, which is computer science engineering. Which
Got it.
meant another option was take an admission at a private
I will.
engineering college,
Yeah.
right? It was a very bold decision. Thankfully, my parents gave me that choice. I must say they were one, they've been very liberating set of parents, right? They
Yeah.
gave me the choice, explained me the pros and cons of both the, decisions. And I took the bolder decision that I will go with pursuing computer science engineering at a private engineering college,
Got
right? Role models were in the family itself. I had a very protected childhood, so I was not exposed to, the who's and who's of, that industry at that point of time. So I'll keep it very simple and straightforward. Those were my role models, my maternal uncle and my dad. And my
it.
mom was the torchbearer.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so related to this entire engineering thing is a very interesting gold medal story, right? You chased your gold medal throughout your engineering, and that kind of beats another stigma in the society, which you fought against, right? Uh, if you're okay with it, then please let's talk about
Sure. So this is again related to the same, decision that I kind of chose, that okay, I'll go for a private college, but computer science engineering, instead of doing a gap year and chasing the same branch at a very reputed regional college, or maybe an IIT, right? Now here is, I think there were two things, that were happening in the societal setup of that point of time.
it. Yeah,
Right. First of all, girls becoming engineers was itself, a stigma that by way
yeah,
of my mom's, desire and ambition, I was trying to, carve out a space for myself.
yeah,
And when I took this decision, right, after getting admitted into the college, a month passed, right, and my mom was working, so was my dad. In their respective colleague circle, apparently some casual conversation happened, and like, which was like kind of, becoming a questioning for my parents, like what exactly, went into your mind, Mr. Arora or Mrs. Arora? You've sent your girl to do this, engineering in a paid private engineering college. Uh, in this much money, you could have married her off lavishly.
Oh,
Who
unbelievable.
spends so much money on educating girls, and that to engineering and that to computer science? Uska scope bhi clear nahi hai. Who
Hmm.
knows, and now this was unfortunately, the kind of middle class mentality, that we were still, living in those times. And thankfully, I think I had very progressive parents, and they were very bold and very, humble about all of this. But then back home, they just educated me. This is what, how the society, thinks about this. And now here's your challenge. Here's your challenge. Now you have to be the best in what you've chosen.
Good.
You really have to be the best in what you've chosen, which means getting the topmost academic scores, being the greatest programmer. You love programming. That is why, you went into this. So be that greatest programmer, beat all those academic scores. And my mom added to it, get that gold medal. Get that gold medal, and let's show this world there can be girls who can be great engineers, and that too at top of the ranks. And that is where, it sowed the seed. So I was throughout my engineering, like, of course, I had to do my personal sacrifices. No movies, no hangout, no chill outs with, friends and all of that. It was a very, disciplined kind of thing that I was doing. Even I had that burning, thing that how can people say such things, right? How can they, right? And I will not let anybody, keep on having these kind of um, what should I say, limiting beliefs about the capabilities of girls.
Yeah.
And if Almighty and through my parents has given me this opportunity, I'm going to make the best of it. So there I was, chasing for the gold medal, and I earned it. I earned it in my engineering. I earned it in my MTech as well later on. But that was it. I was just in that, constant chase of let people not get any chance to doubt the capabilities of girls, and let them eventually, allow girls to have their own wings.
Only girls today realize that there have been so many sacrifices for them, and people like you fought so much, right? Now, coming to the next question, that you've been working with some of the world leading companies across the world. Now, I wouldn't want to name the companies, but I would just want to ask, what differences have you observed between men and women as both these genders advance in their career? Have you seen the tech industry evolve in terms of gender diversity across in the past 2 decades that you've been a part of it?
Yeah, clearly, all of this is a sensitive topic, clearly. And of course, there aren't any rights or wrongs. I think a lot of this is all about perception as well and more, right? And the kind of experiences that, an individual, goes through their journey. So I think I want to just put that submission out clear that
Yeah.
whatever I'm saying is just based on my own experiences. Does
Yes.
not mean there is any kind of, generic nature that I'm trying to apply here, right? But
Yes.
based on my observations, right, since you asked like differences, I think what I've seen is when it comes to the two different genders, right? Two different genders are different in their communication styles. While women may try, may be often, perceived as more collaborative, and we strive for getting a consensus. Men may at times, seem more direct and assertive. There's a difference in leadership style as well. Being women, we naturally, end up emphasizing on relationship building, taking a holistic perspective, having that nurturing side of ours, right? And men are very business focused, very impact oriented, right? But each of these leadership styles, to be clear, they have their own merits.
Yeah.
Each of these communication styles have their own merits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, being women, since we end up, we end up juggling multiple kinds of, responsibilities at work and at family. Many a times, as a woman, if I were to see my own journey, right, I have strived for that, so-called work-life balance as well,
Yeah.
only to realize at a later point of time in my career that it is work life integration than work life balance. But I think for men, it's more of career focus, right? Of course, there is this new generation of emerging Gen Z and Gen Y also, for that matter,
Yeah.
wherein they are trying to shoulder a lot of family responsibilities equally with their better halves.
Yeah.
But still, I think there is a difference in some way or the other. Now, these are again my own experiences and observations. There are merits to each of these, and I don't want any of what I say, to be applied with any kind of generalistic kind of perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
The
Because
second part of your question, yeah, go ahead,
no,
Anmol.
no, no, no. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
The second part of your question was about gender diversity, how the tech industry has evolved over the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
I think the good news on this front, what I've seen, through all these years, is there's a lot of increased awareness about the importance of gender diversity and inclusion in the tech industry.
Yeah.
Um, their companies have actually, proactively been implementing a lot of diversity initiatives, programs to attract, to retain women in tech roles, programs to even, have their their career development as well. Uh, More and more organizations are investing in mentorship programs for women in technology. And of course, companies have been trying to, increasingly work on offering flexible work arrangements,
Yeah.
both the genders for that matter, so that, people can, balance their, personal lives along with the work, this thing. So a lot has already been done.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think there is a lot yet to be done as well, especially the creatives that your team, kind of put out as a prelude to this event. Those creatives are actually, kind of telling us very loudly a lot is yet to be done as well. So
I
it's a
just
journey that
re-
continues.
yeah, yeah, I just reiterate those creators, because when you said that, okay, this is what my experience is, I think these creatives or these numbers speak a lot more than just your experience. It's probably a survey done across the country, and that's where the, or maybe the continent, that's where we get these creatives from. So I just want to narrate two stats over here. 43% of Indian women are STEM graduates, yet only 14% are employed as scientists or engineers. This was one of the stats that we found out. The other stat that we had shared yesterday, just a second, I quickly uh, skim through it.
That was about the GitHub.
Yes, that was a survey that was done by GitHub again. GitHub being the biggest open source community, right? It wrote that open source codes written by women, that are 78.6%, were more likely to get approved than those written by men, that are 74.6%. Again, no biases attached over here. All of us are equally capable, right? But here are some numbers that kind of give us an overview of how things are across the world. And obviously we stick around with numbers, we've been logical as humans, right? So apart from all this, Chale, let's jump onto your first stint at TCS, right? What, so how important is a positive first experience for any graduate, be it a girl or a guy? How important is the first experience, first workplace experience, a good first workplace experience? And what were your three biggest learnings from there?
So yeah, so first workplace experience for a graduate, for a fresh graduate in any field, right?
Yeah.
And this is not just about STEM or technology, right? In any field, right? I think it becomes the foundation of how rest of your career can and will shape up. Right?
Yes.
It literally becomes a foundation.
Yes.
Um, it helps shape up your professional demeanor as well,
Yeah.
right? Most of, I think this is the kind of see, our Indian education system is heavily tilted on doing a lot of coursework, right, during college.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, there is a bit one or two internships, that we go through, but they still don't expose us, to the corporate life as much, right? The duration of these internships is really, really short.
Yeah.
So your first workplace is essentially, your real tryst with the realities of corporate life, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think it's more of, the more you get into your first workplace with an open mind, right, and a flexible attitude,
Yeah.
the best you will get out of that experience. That's how I would say, right? And coming to my, first three learnings, right? So my first workplace, basically, shaped me up to be very, very adaptable,
Got it.
very, very flexible,
Hmm.
uh, and also sowed the foundation of that in this industry. If you really want to have a flourishing career,
Yeah.
then continuous skill upgrading is something that you will have to always, be investing your time and resources into, right?
Got
Those are
got
the three key learnings. Be adaptable, be flexible, because being adaptable and flexible is how you then become, like a sponge, and you're able to, soak as many learnings, right?
Yeah.
Be able to deal with, challenges in a manner that they eventually turn out opportunities for you.
Got it.
And continuous skill upgradation, of course, this is a dynamically changing landscape in the tech industry, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
technologies of yesteryears versus technologies of, current years, like they're way, way, way apart.
Yeah.
And if we are not investing, in our continuous skill upgrading, it's very easy to get washed out. So, and this, I think I'm very thankful that my experiences, uh, at my very first, employer, these are the three, key takeaway learnings that I learned, and I still, I still keep investing in my uh, technical skill upgrading as
Yeah.
well.
Upskilling is obviously a thing that's not going away anywhere, right? It's as important as breathing, I must say, because every day there's a new trend in the market, there's a new technology in the market, and you have to like work on it from the scratch. There's no other shortcut to it, right? Now, these are your learnings. Now, I want to know what. So, imagine a young girl who's entering STEM, right? What is one piece of advice that you would give her, apart from these learnings that you've already told, right? Right?
For young girls entering STEM,
Yeah.
right? One, very clear advice that I would give is believe in yourself and your abilities. Do not let your confidence be lowered because of any, any challenges that are coming your way, or any feedback that is coming your way, or if anybody is trying to, judge you, or if, your project, experiences failure or whatever. It's okay. Everything else is okay. But your belief in yourself and your abilities should not go down.
Perfect. Perfect. But it's really important, right? It's really important to trust yourself.
Yes.
Cool. So now we'll move to a lighter segment of our conversation. We call it the rapid fire round, not the Karan Johar one. It's just your preferences, and just we'll be very quick. I'll throw on options on you, and you just have to pick one. Okay. So coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
Never give up.
Worst advice that you've ever received?
Now that you're a mom, just focus on upbringing your child and think if you really want to continue your job, or maybe you'll be just better off giving up your job and just raising your child.
One word to describe your leadership style in.
Adaptable.
Favorite city to work in?
Hyderabad.
That's different. Your biggest inspiration in the tech world, if we were to say.
Marissa Mayer, ex CEO of Yahoo.
Yeah, yeah. What's that one hobby you wish you'd more time for?
Traveling around the world to explore all the best tourist attractions. I wish, I wish I had more time. I think I have the resources, but I don't have the time. So
Perfectly understood. What's your preferred mode of learning? So, upskilling you're talking about, right? Is it books? Is it online courses? Or is it hands on experience that you believe
it's books followed by hands-on experience.
in? Okay. Future of tech in 10 years, more opportunities or more challenges?
Clearly, more opportunities.
Okay, that's a different take. Okay, we'll talk about that. Now, coming to my next question, that in India, at times, male counterparts in the industry have made a lot of remarks on women, right? While you work with women, there are a lot of remarks that are casually slipped in conversations about promotions, about work after marriage, right? Now, it's very important for a woman who's entering this new universe to know how to combat such situations, right? uh, would just need you to throw some light on how can women battle such situations and how can they come out of this better. That's it.
Yeah, this is another very sensitive aspect in mole.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that in India, I think there are a lot of still, outdated stereotypes and unconscious biases as well, right? I think many a times such comments aren't made with any malintention or, thinking consciously. It's just unconsciously your subconscious mind has been, conditioned, cultured in a very different, patriarchal setup that
Yeah.
things just, get said without realizing what do they mean and what impact can they have, on the women colleagues, right? And it's really unfortunate that we're still dealing with such stereotypes at the workplace. But in terms of how women can effectively combat such things and still continue in their role with confidence, I would just focus on few things, right? First of all, it's about every woman should know her worth,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Be aware of your skills, right? The value that you've been adding in your job, in your role, to your team, to your company, right? Be aware of that and do not hesitate in in talking about the value that you create for the company, right? Uh, Focus on doing your job, to the best of your capabilities, as like be the best, basically be the best in what you do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
uh Continuous skill upgrading, uh and at times, if such comments are bothering you, right, it's okay to be able to have a direct conversation with the
Yeah.
said colleagues, right? It's absolutely okay, have a direct conversation and clearly tell people that a woman getting married does not determine that their work ethic or career aspirations have got lowered, right? A woman getting married does not mean that her identity is only the wife of so and so, right? She also has studied hard and worked hard to get to where she is in her career, and just be clear about your confidence and your abilities, that you can still continue to invest similar efforts and resources and energy into doing your best at your current role. I think it's about that as well, right? And of course, I think, see, these days companies are investing a lot in providing mentorship and career coaching as well, right? So, I mean, this also can be a topic where you can, just approach a mentor or a career coach, right, to be able to, get guidance and how to effectively, navigate such situations as well. And and the last bit that I would always say is have a firm belief as I said, right, believe in yourself, but also do that positive talk to yourself, right? Re-emphasize that positive, confidence of yours to yourself. It's all about you. What you feel inside is what will reflect outside, right?
Agree.
That is the most important thing. So, yeah.
Also, what I think is a lot of times, while these conversations are slipped in very casually, male counterparts also need to rework, go and do the homework of revising these things that are being changed with every
Yes.
passing year, right? The culture that's
Yeah.
been changing, the people that now that you're pushing someone beyond another level to work to achieve something, you have to make sure that you by mistake also don't push her back or don't bring her down,
Yeah.
right? So there's this
Yeah.
constant work that male counterparts also have to do on their end. uh,
Absolutely. Very well said. And I'm so glad it's coming from you, Anmol. I mean, I'm so glad that, the generation of yours is so, what should I say? Flexible and adaptable to such, things, and you all are very, good observers and learners. It's very important, right, for men to be allies, right? It's very
yes,
important for men to be allies in this whole, transformational shift that we as an industry or we as a country are trying to take. There is proven research, by the way, that increased diversity at any workplace has a direct relationship to the profitability of a company, right? Now, if there is proven research, right, then it's in the best interest of literally everybody. This is
yes,
not something exclusively we are doing for one gender. I think this is in the best interest of the company, and eventually it's in the best interest of our country's economy altogether,
yes,
right? So if we have to become a developed nation competing with the likes of the US and other developed nations, right, we all have to be in this together. So thank you for saying that. Yeah.
pleasure, ma'am. Okay. Now we'll jump onto the culture bit of your team and how do you like nurture technical excellence and culture of innovation within your teams. So if you could throw some light on that.
Yeah, so within, my teams, I think it's all about, see, in the tech industry as engineering leaders, right? It's imperative that a culture of innovation and technical excellence is nurtured and fostered, right? And it's all about the growth mindset, basically, right?
Yes.
uh, we are in the role, we are in the company, in the tech industry for a certain purpose.
Yeah.
Technology is a business enabler, right? There's no point of being technologists if we cannot land massive business impacts without the use of technology, right? So it's very important that through continuous skill upgrading, whatever newer technical learnings the team is having, right, as leaders, we provide them safe zones to be able to experiment, right? To be able to experiment, to be able to try newer ways of solving the same problems, faster ways, better, more efficient ways of solving the same, technical problems or business problems, right? It's important that when your team is successful, then as leaders, you appreciate them loud and clear. Of course, within every company that I've worked, there's been a different system of recognition rewards, to be able to celebrate the wins, do those. But at the same time, if any of the experiments have failed, then view failures as learning opportunities. Encourage your team to continue to still invest in those experiments, or scrap that experiment, try another experiment, share the experiences. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fail is another aspect that I have always told my team in each of my stints, that it's not always about that you'll be successful. Failures are important as well, right? So the other aspect, of course, is all about empowering, having open communication. And see, in the engineering fraternity, right, it's all about lead by example as well. So if I'm expecting my team to be able to innovate, to, be technically brilliant, it comes on to me as well, right? I also then, have to be making sure that I am from time to time being able to demonstrate my technical acumen, provide them the needed technical guidance. I myself am able to go deep into the problem solving mode along with them, right,
Yeah.
and be able to collectively solve the problems. So those are the few aspects that I've been trying in different roles, and of course leadership is a journey. So I would still say I'm also learning along with my team.
Agreed, ma'am. All of us are learning, but it's very important to lead by example. That's so true because whenever we see our seniors as juniors, I can speak on my behalf. Whenever we see our seniors taking a lead on anything or doing something for, like, it can be as small as my boss coming to work every day on time, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of juniors are so very much inspired to to come on time before him, or either reach before him or reach with him, but not reach late. Very, very small nuances like these just inspire us. And that's how I've seen probably leading by example turn into one of the golden mantras for my company. Now, jumping onto the family support bit of it, because everything we are. I remember in that conversation, the last conversation that we were having, we were speaking in depth about how family is one of the core pillars, right, to handle us. So, what role basically has your family played in supporting again your career, and can you share some challenges and obstacles that came across in your career and how you along with your family overcame them? Because obviously it's you overcoming them, but there's a force behind called family that's helping you, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's a great question, and also I would I would put it in simple words, right? So for every man who's successful, they say there's a woman behind him, right? For every woman who's successful, I would say there's a full family behind her. That's how careers for women shape up.
Yeah.
And if I go through my own journey, uh, so clearly both my parents, my sister, right, in current times, even my brother-in-law, right, each one of them has been very, very supportive of ensuring that I'm able to focus on my career. More specifically, in the few minutes back you asked, right, what was the worst advice I got, and I told what was the worst advice. Now that is where, right, so I think what happens is, as women, we go through personal transformations, and at the same time, your career is also, giving you equally challenging moments almost at the same point of time, right? So, many of us, this is not like I saying that this is probably the worst advice. Many of us are given worst or best. I don't know. It was just, my feeling. That's what I shared. But many women go through this dilemma at different junctures of their personal and professional lives, that okay, should I give up my career, or my family needs me more, or my child needs me more, or my parents need me more, or my in-laws need me more. There's just so much going on in everyone's personal life, and almost always there is this dilemma that comes, a decision that comes in front of the woman most of the times, that either you give up your career or make some adjustments to be able to continue, right?
Mhm.
For me, I think the biggest transformational phase was when I became a mom. And I mean, that was the time when India Inc. still didn't have, 6 months of maternity leave kind of support. That time it was only 3 months of maternity leave, right? Like 3 months just pass in a jiffy, and in a nuclear family setup, where you've still not figured out how will I join back the job, and what will happen, and this and that, right? This advice was just coming to me from multiple corners, and I was like, it just breaks your heart. At that point of time I was like, my god, I worked so hard. I, kind of defied so many challenges only to get up till here, and iske baad ka kuch nahi. And I think that is where my family came to my rescue, thankfully. So, right.
Mm.
In fact, my parents, I have to admit, they've been kind of beyond me. They've been kind of, primary caregivers for my child, whenever my work needed me, literally. Right. And that's a huge, huge, huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll forever be grateful. Right. My sister helps me a lot with that as well. So it's like, you really need that support. And I would say to every other woman, who's either going through this kind of a transformational journey or who will eventually go, right? It's all about ask for help, right? Ask for help in your extended family, in your immediate family, in your, network. And if that help is not coming from within your family, hire some help. You're earning, hire
Yeah.
some help, right? It's all about that. That decision that many women end up taking, that okay, I'll sacrifice my career to be able to do this, right? At that point of time, clearly it is the right decision. They've taken it, right? But I think then as a society, we are then in that zone where two steps forward, we've
Then,
studied,
yeah. Yeah.
we've worked, and then one step backward,
Yeah.
because now there are so much family responsibilities. Now let's just leave everything. And the other ask I think I have, and this is a request with folded hands to all the men who are listening to this, right? Please, 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 those of you who are married already, or have become a parent, or will become a parent, or eventually everyone will get married, right? Be that better half to your better half as well, right? When it comes to taking up responsibilities of the child, of caregiving for elders and whatnot, right? I think it takes two to do a tango, and hence the household has to rest. The household responsibilities also have to rest on shoulders of both the husband and the wife. And then only there'll be true liberation that we'll be able to do, and true enablement that we'll be able to do for women to be able to continue in careers like STEM. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
So recently we were talking about in the rapid fire round. I'll come back to that. I had asked you a question: future of tech in 10 years, and you said more opportunities. Now, just throw some light over here. This is out of my personal interest. Where are these opportunities? Because a lot of our listeners right now are maybe students or people who've just gotten into their jobs, right? And they're pretty
Yes.
much worried about the AI scene right now happening. They're worried about how AI equipped will they have to be? What does the future look like? There's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, the floor
Yeah.
is
So when I say more opportunities, you rightly said AI is one such arena, but I think the whole anxiety around it, wherein people are treating AI as a threat, I want to change that perspective. Right? Let's think differently.
yeah,
People who will have the capability to be able to create AI,
yeah,
people who will have the capability to be able to create deep learning models,
yeah,
new language learning models, right? New machine learning algorithms, right? I think that is where the next wave of opportunities in the tech industry is clearly, standing ahead of us, right? And that is the kind of skill upgrading and technical upgrading that I would highly highly encourage everyone to invest their time and resources into it.
yeah,
uh, think of it, right, in the last few years itself, right, the kind of enormous research and outcomes that I've every day we keep reading something or the other in the news.
yeah,
There was ChatGPT, then there was Gemini, then there was DAL-E, then there was Llama 3.1, and then there's GPT-4. Like, things are, before we can finish saying one sentence, something else has, already come up in the news, right? Now, if now there are two choices, right? Either I limit myself to remain a user of AI,
Hmm.
And that is where then AI becomes a threat. Because if
Under.
I'm just using AI, right,
Hmm.
then of course, okay, then at some point of time, clearly, it becomes difficult and difficult to have your, credibility in the industry that, okay, you're just a user of AI, right? So rather than being a user or a consumer of AI, what I think, where the opportunities lie, and that is why I said more opportunities is be a creator of these newer technologies, newer machine learning models, deep learning models. Generative AI has a huge amount of promise. LLMs have a huge amount of promise. So be that person, right? To be more specific and more, right, like, spent more than 20 years in the industry, but even today I myself have enrolled back myself into the academia at IIT Delhi. I'm pursuing a course in AI and ML, right? Where they're actually making us code these models, right? Like, that is where. Now, it's up to us, right? It's really up to us. Either we'll take it as a threat,
Yeah.
or we'll be like, okay, the threat, the so called technology that is trying to be the threat, let's go conquer it and let's make it into an opportunity.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Again, just upskilling your way through and starting from scratch, but making
Start
sure
from
that,
scratch.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's
Start
not.
from scratch. When the course started few months back, we
Yeah.
started from the basics of statistical learning, probability theory, the maths that we were, studying in 12th grade. We
Yeah.
started from there. And then, gradually, okay, now we're able to code the model. So it's okay. Reboot, rewire.
Perfect. Perfect. So now that we are discussing technology, I just want to know which technological advancements are you most excited about and why?
Yeah, I think that's the answer is kind of related to what I just said, right? For me personally, I'm very excited about what all is happening in this artificial intelligence space. Be it generative AI, be it deep learning, be it the language learning models.
Got it.
Uh, I'm so excited. Like, I've made it a habit that every day morning I'm starting with, my morning with reading some or the other, uh, knowledgeable article about, either of these, right?
Nice.
I've myself, purchased a bunch of books on, each of these. So it's like, start your day with, reading about these and then, try to rewire how we can do, right? It's, I think as technologists, right, it's also about the newer and newer business problems that are coming to the front,
Yeah.
right? How will we solve them using, these newer technologies?
Yeah.
Now, generative AI, it's already becoming a clear, proven thing in the tech industry, at least, right? It's
Yeah.
clearly becoming a boost to developer productivity, right?
Yes. Yes.
Companies are more and more investing in stuff like GitHub Copilot, right? To be able to, generate code and free up the developer's time to be able to write more complex business logic, right? So there's simpler things, your boilerplate code and everything, like Gen AI can take care of it. Then what do the developers do? Hone their complex problem solving skills, right? And become, better problem solvers. Clearly, boost to them, to their capabilities, frees up their time to do self upgrading as well, right? And a boost for the company as well. So it's like, it's all in the way you think about it. It's all in the mind, right? You take it as an
So,
opportunity, it will become a gold mine of an opportunity.
yes. So very
That's what
true. So
I'm excited about.
as a content person, when AI came into the picture, I started treating AI as my intern. So anything or any basic task that I used to do manually, as simple as writing an email, right?
Hmm.
Very, very basic things. Obviously, I had to feed in, I had to teach and tell the model, or maybe probably buy the advanced version of it and
Yeah.
then teach
Yeah.
the model how do I want to, like, how do I want the model to reciprocate. But
Correct.
I save up like a good amount of time using the AI. So I
That's
completely.
what. That's what. Prompt engineering itself has become, such a in-depth, thing that, okay, what is that, whole Pentagon model of, giving the prompt so that,
Yeah.
you get the right up. Like, There's just so much out there in terms
Yes.
of opportunities, right? The other day I was hearing somebody has, started a digital content business, and they're relying heavily, on artificially generated content, from
Yes.
multiple different language models. And it's a
Yes.
flourishing business.
Yeah.
And that entrepreneur is already, making crores of profit. I'm like, wow.
Mm.
Now this is where this new technological advancements have great potential. If you're a
Agree.
technologist, become a creator of these technologies, right? If you're a content person, learn prompt engineering, right? If you're an entrepreneur, again, you can use these to your advantage to do excellent sales, excellent marketing, and whatnot. So
Perfect. It's just
it's
you should know the use case of it. That's
exactly.
perfect. My last question for you for the evening. It's been good 1 hour. I didn't realize it only, but that's what a good conversation calls for. I believe you just don't
Yes.
realize how the time passes. So, what do you consider as like essential traits, I were to say, of being a successful technology leader, and what piece of advice do you have for individuals like who are aspiring to rise high in the tech? So, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, as for any, engineering leader to be super successful in technology,
Yeah.
right? And people who are aspiring to become, great technology leaders, I think there are few things, that are like non-negotiable, I would say, right? Your technical proficiency,
Yeah.
right? Deep understanding of technology is foundational. Staying updated with the latest technology trends, being able to make informed technology choices, right? Like and being able to offer trade-offs as well, determine trade-offs, why we are gonna you know choose a certain framework and not choose a certain framework, and making sure that you're looking at from multiple aspects like scalability, resilience of the system, fault tolerance, security, and so many of the non-functional requirements, right? So technical proficiency, uh, many people think that as we grow up in the ladder, technical proficiency takes a backseat. No, that is not the case. Being a technology leader, technology proficiency is one of your key skills that you continue honing, right? Strategic thinking, the ability to see the bigger picture. What are the business goals and the business outcomes that you and your firm really want to achieve, which are aligned with the mission and vision of the firm, right? And how then you align technology with these business objectives is all about you being strategic around it, right? Great people leadership, of course, as technology leaders, it's about harnessing the potential of people, right?
Right.
And then leveraging technology. So if we are in the job of harnessing the potential of people, then as a people leader, you got to be able to inspire your team, motivate your team, foster innovation, have a have a culture where people can just speak up their mind, and of course then also uh give them the freedom so that they also feel proud in taking ownership and accountability of their deliverables, right? Communication skills, that is also essential for a good leader. You should
Yeah.
be able to articulate technical concepts, business concepts, for all kinds of audiences. Adaptability, that is my last.
Yes.
Adaptability. When you ask me one word of my leadership style, I said adaptable. I think this one virtue will keep you grounded, keep you modest, humble, and the same time be able to embrace the challenges, be a good problem solver, uh, be a servant leader as needed to your teams, right? Like, and of course, make adjustments, in your way of working as and when needed, right? Not one style, serves all kind of situations. So I think being adaptable, I would say, is equally important. Although I kept it in the last, but it's equally important to all of the other traits that I said.
Got it. Got it. I think we reached the end of our session. If I were to summarize some of the major learnings that I took or that the audience can take back, it's the first and the foremost thing that I think is the most important for all of us is to believe in ourselves. And if for women who are into tech, the one thing that I think is the most important is to hire help or probably ask for help, is where we kind of hesitate, or women kind of hesitate, where they think that, okay, what is the world gonna think about that? But probably I'll just reiterate what you said, that it's not okay to care for the world before, or it's not okay to put the world before yourselves, right? You've taken two steps forward, so don't take that one step backward. And another thing, another one of the biggest learnings was, it's okay to fail, and we should all view failures as our learnings. So thank you so much, ma'am. It's been an honor, obviously, to talk to you, to learn so much from you since day one. And I just hope that we get to see more leaders like you. And we I just hope that a lot of our generation can become like how you've fought for the women. A lot of our generation can also help women in getting that particular strata in the society, and help women get there, right, where they actually are, where they actually deserve to be, right? So that's the entire point of it. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening to us. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed us. There have been a lot of questions, but I think in the conversation we've discussed everything that you guys have asked. So I would request you guys to check the conversation once we are off stream. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Signing off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anmol, and thank you to our audience. It was my pleasure as well to be able to, touch upon some of the very sensitive topics as well as some of the very exciting topics of technology world. And yeah, I hope, I've been able to inspire many in the audience. And I really, really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, want to see more and more next gen leaders emerge out of, these learnings. And I'll be rooting for you all from the back chair.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
Thank
day.
you. Take care. Take care, you too. Bye bye. Bye, everybody. Bye bye.